It's a blessing to have you here with me tonight. Don't be shy, let the words speak for you, alright. Come on, step in the light.
Do you remember who you are? Can you grasp the concept of your life before this? Are you within reach of that version, or do you stand here unelastic like cold rubber? Speaking of cold rubber, have you Snapchat? Is your sanity stricken? Is it yet your spirit sickened? The pot been stirred and the plot been thickened. It's time to plate up your pride, eat and grab your prescription. That hard pill to swallow ain't as hard as the pain of quitting. Fuck who you were before. No, I'm not saying forget him, but it's just that that version of you was in the past, and you know how we feel about history. It's time to pick up life's pen and scribble your story into this, because when you finish, it's not where you start, nor where you ended it. It's the impact of the journey in your soul's everlasting penmanship. That is my opening poem. That is the homework. I hope
I
y'all look in
had
the
wrote
mirror.
this piece called Ace of Tears. And in this library of mine, I'm tired of the same story. Page after page, it's your moral compass that's always been faulty. Chapter after chapter, it's your character that's incomplete. In the next life, please don't find me. If reincarnation is a thing, I hope your spirit dies slowly. Because I ain't interested in your apologies. Changed behavior is what I wanted to see. At first, from you. But the deeper we fell, I needed to see that change in me. As I yearned to be freed from the chains of not being enough for you and not seeing that my cup runneth over for me. Constantly parched because, like water, love should come effortlessly. Yet you deserted me, canteen empty, left in the Sahara with sandaled feet carrying demons that weren't meant for me. Cross on my back, it was dusty and I couldn't see. Yet when I called out for help, you still showed up inadequately. So I handled you how you did me, barely and hardly. I'm tired, y'all. It's been 40 days since I've had a good night's sleep. I don't feel safe under these sheets, not from the monsters or the dreams of your deceit suffocating me. So I died, willingly. Came back rejuvenated, a Van Gogh piece. Despite the cracks, I realized the value in me. Hired, fired, and promoted accordingly. Became the CEO of Incorporated Me. Because despite being a ruler, you couldn't measure up. Failure after failure. Now I really don't give a fuck. They say you are what you consume, and shit, I was on a diet. I had 180 pounds of bitch to lose. Now this table has been set for me, knife and fork to devour you and my enemies and whoever else that may send for me. Plate stacked with my past defeats. I'm gonna take my time picking you from my teeth, sitting humbly in my throne, my seat, cup filled with enough to water me and what I carry in this womb. Sweet sacred, I'ma eat the sugar off this fucking spoon, then force the world to swallow this monsoon.
This poem is called Bag of Bitches. Here we go. A bag of bitches sat at the edge of the universe like loose galaxies in counterfeit leather. Zipper half open. Constellations spilling out in acrylic nails, gold fronts, receipts from liquor stores that only appear at 3:17 a.m. Inside the bag, half-finished prayers, 7 fake phone numbers, a cracked compact mirror reflecting alternate dimensions, perfume thick as ancestral smoke. Baby, this wasn't a purse. This was a black hole with hoop earrings, and every woman inside it moved like a different religion. One had a mouth made of switchblades and Sunday hymns. Another carried a heartbreak in the shape of a dragon fruit, pink and impossible to open cleanly. One laughed like somebody throwing dice at gods with windshield. One kept dead men folded in her back pocket like unpaid parking tickets from previous lifetimes. The bag breathed. You ever seen sorrow inhale? It sounded like heels on wet pavement, like mascara dragged across a pillowcase at noon, like somebody saying I'm fine while their aura coughs blood into the sink. This bag of bitches was holy, not church holy, Not kneel and repeat holy. I mean holy like abandoned cathedrals with trees growing through the floorboards. Holy like rusted crowns underwater. Holy like women surviving things that should have turned their skeleton into wind chimes. They carried cosmology in their lace fronts. One girl braided mercury into her hairline, and suddenly every man she kissed started confessing childhood secrets into ceiling fans. Another wore chaos like lip gloss. Every room she entered tilted slightly left, gravity forgetting its responsibilities. And me, I stood there holding the straps of the universe while these women climbed in and out of dimensions, arguing about astrology, rent, revenge, and whether love is just capitalism wearing a heartbeat. The bag got heavier every century, filled itself with survival, with screenshots, with soft rage, with the kind of loneliness that sits in crowded clubs drinking expensive tequila, pretending not to text back on purpose. Somewhere inside was a receipt for Eve's first mistake. Next to it, a bottle of ambition with somebody else's fingerprints on it. One woman carried an entire funeral inside her laugh. Another swallowed abandonment so often her stomach started speaking fluent ghosts. Still they danced. Dear God, they danced. Like apocalypse had a DJ. Like grief could be twerked into submission. Like their knees remembered drums older than language. The room bent around them. Men became satellites. Women became mirrors. Time itself loosened its belt and sat down. A bag of bitches. That's what they called it. But language is a cheap hoe. Words too small for the tenants inside them, because what is a bitch except a woman sharpened by weather? A woman who swallowed enough disrespect to make her voice grow fangs. A woman tired of being compared to softness when she been tectonic plates since birth. This bag contained civilizations, contained rebirth, contained cigarettes smoking themselves, contained moons with chipped toenail polish. Every I got home safe text sent through trembling tums at 2 a.m. contained mothers, daughters becoming storms, little girls hiding entire hurricanes behind glitter backpacks and good grades. At the bottom of the bag, underneath the lint and loose change, was a tiny pulsating sun. Nobody touched it. Everybody knew better. The son was named Rage, middle name Tenderness, last name Don't Push Me. And every now and then, the zipper would crack open by itself, letting out smoke shaped like old lovers, old arguments, old versions of themselves they had to bury alive. You could hear the bag whisper at night. It said, "We were never difficult. We were never too much. Y'all just kept bringing teaspoons to a woman built like oceans." Then silence. Heavy, velvet, electric. The kind of silence that exists right before lightning remembers its purpose.
Damn.
All right, so the first piece is called The Gospel of Seasons. People are like trees, not because they stand tall, but because they spend most of their lives trying to survive seasons they never asked for. Some people live in summer so long they mistake hiding for healing. Their branches become heavy with leaves thick enough to block anyone from seeing the rot underneath. Smiles become shade, laughter becomes camouflage, success becomes decoration, and everybody praises the tree because it looks alive, but leaves can lie. A tree can be full in appearance and still be dying at the roots, because what truly keeps a tree alive is not what hangs from its branches, but what reaches beneath the surface. Water, the thing nobody sees. The quiet truth, the vulnerability, the tears people swallow because they were taught weakness is something to bury instead of water with. So they perform growth instead of becoming it. But autumn always comes, and autumn is honest, because eventually life will touch you hard enough that your coverings can no longer hold on. The fake laughs falls first, then the fake peace, then the fake strength, until your true colors finally bleed through the branches. That is why autumn is beautiful and painful at the same time. It is the season where pretending dies. Then winter arrives. Winter is exposure. No leaves, no distraction, no applause for appearances, just bark, just scars, just truth. Winter is where people discover where their roots were actually planted or just decorated. Because storms do not care how pretty a tree looked in summer. That is why Jesus spoke about trees and fruit so often, because fruit tells the truth that leaves try to hide. A fig tree can look healthy from far away, covered in leaves, advertising life. A fig tree can look healthy, covered in leaves, advertising life. Yet when Christ walked up to it, he found no fruit beneath the performance. And some people are the same way, overflowing with image, empty in substance, looking spiritual, strong, healed, but starving anyone who comes close enough hoping to be fed. Fruit is different from leaves. Leaves say, look at me. Fruit says, take from me. Leaves consume attention, fruit gives life. And real growth is not measured by how convincing your leaves are, but what your life produces when somebody hungry reaches your branches. Then finally, spring. The season people think is about flowers when really it is about survival, because spring is proof that what looked dead was still developing underground. Roots were stretching in silence, strength was forming in hidden places, healing was happening where nobody clapped for it. And suddenly the tree that winter exposed begins to bloom honestly, not because it learned how to hide better, but because it finally stopped hiding at all. That is growth, not becoming different, but becoming real enough to bear fruit without fear. I choose. Bless you.
Wordsmith, show the work in your craft. We ain't perfection, but let the light of God shine soft through the cracks. Let your truth breathe, let your courage rise.